welcome to my channel, or welcome back. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining us. If you are returning, you already know it. You are fabulous. All right. DIY number one. Welcome, and let's get started. Okay, so for this one, I've got these two wood cutouts that I got from the Dollar Tree. I have got my Arteza paints, and then I've also got some scrapbook paper that came from Hobby Lobby. Now, I was showing you there, I couldn't figure out what red paint I wanted because I wanted one that would closely match that checkered pattern that I had there. And then I've also got some tumbling tower blocks that came from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to be using a few of those. Now, I started out by obviously cutting off all the hardware, the hanger, the tags, all of that. Now, I could not get the staple out of the back of these, and I seriously tried, and it was just not happening. So I just paint over the top of them, and it's really no big deal. Like, you cannot see them. You're not gonna, it's not a big, it's just crafting. It's just a couple staples, no big deal. Now, I do paint the back of this with my black chalkboard paint, and then I'm also painting the outer edge of it. I'm not worried about the front because I'm going to be covering that, but I did want to paint the back and give it that finished look, and that's why I say you're not going to see those staples painted right over the top of it. Then I took the red, and look at this red, y'all. I ended up going with Crimson Red, and that is an Arteza paint. Y'all, these paints are so good, like, for real. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. I'm just telling y'all because if you're looking for a good paint to use or just start out with, even go to the Arteza website, or there's a link in my description box actually. Either way, get yourself some Arteza paint because it is 100% worth your money. It is totally quality paint. All right, and the colors are just gorgeous. I mean, so vibrant, and like I said, I cannot say enough good things about the Arteza paint, for real. All right, now I laid my love down on the paper. As you can see, it's already traced out on the other side. Well, that's because I traced it out on the wrong side. So careful what you do. You've got to have the front of it laying down on the paper, okay? All right, now, so I just flipped it over and retraced it. I'm going to take my scissors and cut it out. Yeah, I was so having a blonde moment when I done that. But, hey, it is what it is. All right, so just cut that out with my scissors. I had thought about doing it with my X-Acto knife and just tracing around it once, with the X-Acto knife. But it's too easy to mess up with the X-Acto knife, so I decided that I definitely needed to just wait and do it with my scissors. Now, I'm going to do the same thing for the XOXO. Although, I did need to cut 2 pieces of paper because that last O, it wouldn't fit on the paper, so I had to cut out a separate piece. But it goes together seamlessly. I mean, you cannot tell that it's 2 separate pieces, so totally works out. No big deal. But like I said, just trace around those, cut those out to fit your wording. Then we're going to take some Mod Podge. And I know everybody's using glue sticks now, and like, I get it. There's even times that I like a glue stick, like there are projects that I recommend a glue stick, but for the most part, for me, when I'm attaching stuff like this, when I'm looking for an adhesive to use, Mod Podge is just my go-to. I just like Mod Podge. I think it's easy to work with, and I don't have that much trouble out of it. Now, I've had projects be a total fail because of the Mod Podge. I'm sure y'all can know where I'm coming from on that one if you use Mod Podge very often. But for the most part, I like Mod Podge. I think it works pretty good, and it's my kind of go-to thing. But anyways, I just added my Mod Podge. I'm going to lay my paper down. And like I said, I had 2 cutouts for this word because, it wouldn't fit on the paper. So I'm just going to add that O down there. And I do kind of, I don't kind of. I actually take my Mod Podge and go underneath that letter and then go back over the top of it just to make sure that that's going to stay stuck real good. But I don't go over the rest of the word with the Mod Podge, and I didn't go over the love at all on top of it. Because like that's where you get most of your, that's when it's going to mess up the most, is that top layer. And for these, if you had used a glue stick, you're not going to put a glue stick over the top of it. So why put the Mod Podge back over the top of it was kind of my thinking. Like, why take that risk on it messing up when this is something that's going to be sitting on a shelf, and more than likely it's going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to have trouble out of it peeling or whatever, because it's just going to be sitting there. Nobody's going to be touching it. So I figured it would be fine. But as you see there, okay, so everything looks perfect at this point. Well, my OCD just would not let me leave it alone, that the O, the L, the V, like all of that just ran together on this love. So I decided it's a good idea for me to take my Sharpie marker, fine tip, and fill in where the letters are actually supposed to be. Well, wasn't such a good idea, because it looked like I'd taken a pen and filled it in. I mean, it was very, I don't know, it just made it cheap looking when I did it, y'all. It totally ruined the whole project. Like, I tried filling it in, making it a thicker line. I tried red paint. I even go in with the red, with the crimson red. I thought maybe if it looked like it was coming, you know, it would kind of flow. Like it would flow from the outside edge of the letter onto the paper, you know. But that just stuck out like a sore thumb. I mean, it was awful when I was done. So I end up going over it with some gray. Y'all will see in the end pictures. You're not going to hurt my feelings if y'all don't like it, because I don't personally like it that much, but it works out. It'll be fine. I'm going to put it up in my house regardless. Now, I did try to take a flower and add to this to spruce it up some, but in the end, like I said, I ended up going with gray paint, and it softened it up some, but I wish I had just actually left it alone. All right, moving right along. DIY number 2. So for this one, I've got these 2 bags here that I got from the Dollar General store, $1 a piece. I've also got this baby blanket that came from the Dollar Tree. And then I have this burlap, like, drawstring bag that came from burlapfabric.com. And I'll have a link in the description box for the burlapfabric.com, y'all. They have all sorts of stuff. Definitely a good place to check if you are looking for any type of fabric or stuff like that. Definitely check out burlapfabric.com. All right, now I took my baby blanket, laid it out. I took an old pillow that I had, just a throw pillow, laid it over on top of it, and kind of measured it out. I just eyed it. Now I've got it inside out. I was showing you the tag there, so it's inside out. I'm just going to glue the 2 sides together. We're literally just going to be covering this old pillow. So simple. This took about 10 minutes total. Like I said, just glued those 2 sides. Then you pull it right side out. I think I'm saying that correctly. You know what I mean. And that way your seams look, you know, a little more tailored, a little more professionally done, I guess you would say. Not like hot glue. It does not look like you've done it with hot glue. Now, once I got my pillow in there, I'm just going to flip this last side inside out. Like I flipped the ends of it inward, and then you're going to add your glue, close it together, and now that looks like a you know, a decent seam. All right, now for my bags, I just cut the drawstring out of it, made a little snip, and ripped. I used one of these bags in a DIY in the last video, but we did it as a sign, not as a pillow. But same scenario here. We're going to cut the drawstring off of it. I did have to take my rotary tool and go around the outside edge of it. Now, I'm pulling the strings there. You see on that top part, I'm just pulling the strings so that I can ravel out the thread. But where the hem was all the way around this, there was a crease. So I did take my rotary tool and I just went blank, y'all, my square, and go around this thing so it would be, you know, squared off really well. I didn't want that seam there, or that hem to be there. I didn't want you to be able to see where that fold was. So just went around it with my tool there, and then I'm going back around it, just pulling the strings, and that's just to ravel it out. And it ravels out so well, too. I mean, it definitely is, I don't know what kind of material it is, but it's perfect for this. So once I've gotten it raveled out, I like the way it looks. I'm going to fluff out my pillow, get it just right so that my picture will lay on there flat. And we're just going to hot glue this dude down. So stinking simple. Now, I did kind of pat at the hot glue. I did not want a huge glob of it underneath there. So I didn't do a lot of hot glue, and I did kind of pat at it as I was, you know, tucking it down. So simple, so simple. All right, same thing with the other one. I'm just going to cut that. Now I'm going to do this little bag the same way I did the last one. Cut around it with the rotary tool just to get that hem out, and then you're going to pull the strings around it, and that is just to ravel it out. Now I'm taking that burlap bag, and I'm just going to cut the drawstrings right out of it. Just snipped those, and they pulled right out. Now, I leave this 100% intact, just like it is. Just find my position for the bag to go on the front of it. Now, I did decide to go ahead and stuff it first. And what I did was I just took an old pillow that I had. It was a little too big to actually just put the whole pillow in there. So I did cut it open and use the stuffing from inside of it to stuff this burlap sack. And y'all, this is my favorite little pillow. Like, most favorite for sure out of the holidays that I have decorated and made all these little pillows. This is definitely my favorite set. This looks so stinking cute together. Oh my gosh. The two of them together is just darling. But that burlap one really, really makes the set. I mean, it just, I don't know, too stinking cute. So rustic. I love it. I just hot glued that in together, folded it inside out just like I did the last time, and hot glued this dude shut. And that's all there was to that. Now, I'm going to hot glue that bag right on the front of this. Same as we did with the other one. I'm just kind of patting at it. And these are done. That simple. And how stinking cute are these? All right, DIY number 3. Okay, so for this one, I've got these 2 hearts that came from the Dollar Tree. Now, I only used one of them. The one with the arrow, the dog got a hold of. We'll just leave it at that. I've got some mop heads that also came from the Dollar Tree. Now, I started by taking off all of the embellishments and the tinsel and everything off of this first heart here. Now, I'm going to save that, the word love. We're going to save that. So I did just snip it off and then peeled the glue off the back of it. Now, I snipped that tinsel and it just pulls right off. Super simple. what I need is the frame of this heart is what we're going for here. So I just snipped that, pulled it all off. Now, in order to get my strings off of the mop head, I just took my cutters and cut the side of that mop head, and it busted in half. And then I was able to pull the strands off. Now, I started by just tying one of these strands on, and then I'm going to wrap this all the way around this heart. I just like weaved it in and out and went all the way around the heart. Now, I did cut the strands, into smaller pieces. That way I didn't have so much to work with. It made it a lot easier to just have a shorter strand, But I just go all the way around the heart. I'm then going to go in and out. Like I'm going to weave it from side to side. And that's just to cover the heart. Now, I, in the beginning, had thought I was going to go around and around all the way, all the squares that are on this. And then I decided, no, I wanted to do it kind of the same way the tinsel was on there. Use those little nubbies that are on the side to catch it. And then I could go back and forth, and that would completely cover the heart. I hope the way I'm explaining this makes sense. Maybe y'all watching this will see what I'm saying. But like I said, I just would pull me out a little bit, a good strand of it, and then cut it off so that I didn't have so much to work with. When one strand ended, I just tied it off and then started a new strand by tying the next one on. Super simple. And I just did this all the way down this heart. From top to bottom, that is how I covered the heart back up. And like I said, just use those little nubs that were on the side to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that covered it. But I did have to go up and down that. I did that back and forth motion up and down this heart probably about 3 to 4 times. And that covered it really, really well. Obviously, that strand of mop head is not going to be full and fuzzy, like the tinsel is. So it took more than one pass in order to really cover this heart and make it, look decent. So that's what I did. I just kept going back and forth, up and down it. I would use my hot glue when needed. I would tie it off when I needed to, cut it when I needed to, just however I could get it to get full and truly cover this heart. That's what I did. Now, I'm taking that word love that we started out with in the beginning, and I'm just going to paint that with that crimson red Arteza paint. The iridescent color that it had was pretty, but it definitely was not the style that I was going for. And that I wanted this to all kind of go together. And so we had used the crimson in the first DIY, and I thought I'm going to add it to this one. It'll really make this come together. Now, I used my heat gun to dry this in between coats, and I always show this heat gun. I always have a link in the description box for it. $10 on Amazon. Definitely a good product for your crafting stash. All right, now I took that word once it was dry, added some hot glue to the back of it. I just used a thin little stream of hot glue. Just a small bead of it there. I don't want it to be enough that it's going to squish out from underneath there when I push it down on this, because you don't want to be able to see it at all. So just a very thin bead of it. Now, I did take some wire at the end. This is the last thing I did was take some wire, and I'm going to string on those beads that you see there. Those are just wooden, unfinished beads from Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description box for those. I added in a few red ones to go with it, but the rest of them are just these unfinished, and that's all I did to this. Too stinking cute. I love the way this turned out. Alrighty, DIY number 4, and probably my favorite. This will be the last one for today, but It is a good one. Okay, so I've got the yarn there that I got from the Dollar Tree and also some red yarn that came from Walmart. Now, I've got a piece of cardboard that I cut out. I'm just taking that yarn. I'm going to wrap it around that piece of cardboard about probably 50 times, I would say. Like, I didn't count it, so I don't know for sure. But I would just say probably about 50 times because I wanted this to be very, very thick and full. We are making pom-poms. This turns out so stinking cute. Like, I love, love, love this. So, like I said, just wrap that around there. Then you're going to cut you out a piece. Get it off of the cardboard. There's probably a much easier way to do this, but this was the only way that I could figure out, and it worked for me. So, I took that strand that I had cut off and just put it right directly in the middle of my loops. Tied it off, and then I'm going to cut the loops open. And that is what forms the pom-pom. So stinking simple, y'all. So simple. And this is so cute. Oh, my goodness. You could put it anywhere. I mean, just, it's so cute. Endless possibilities with decorating with this little pom-pom. We're making a garland, actually. So it's a pom-pom garland, and it is so stinking cute. Y'all just wait. Okay, so once I got it all cut open, then I take my half scissors there. They're not much pumpkin, but anyways, and I'm just going to trim around the outside edge of that, and that's just to shape it up and make it more like a ball. See there? So I did that same process with the other colors. I did 1 black, 2 gray, 2 white, and 2 red. And that was just like the pattern that I was going with. But I just wrapped it around the cardboard, slipped it off that cardboard, tied me a strand in the middle. Now, I'm taking some twine, and I'm actually running it underneath that strand that we tied in the middle. I'm running that underneath that strand. And that's just to hold this onto the twine. Now, I did go back and kind of trim at some of them, just to shape them up as I went. But I just did them in my little pattern: gray, red, white, black, white, red, gray. See there, I'm just tucking it right underneath that middle strand. And that's all I did to this. This was so simple, and it is so stinking cute. Now it's time for the final reveal. All right, I hope that y'all enjoyed these because I think it turned out just fabulous. I love it all together. All right, y'all, that is it for today. I hope that y'all have enjoyed these DIYs. If you did, be sure and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Subscribe. If you haven't already, please do so. And hit that notification bell so that you will know each time I upload a new video. Now, something new that I've got. Check me out over on thecoffeeshop.com. I will have a link in the description box for it, but it is a new page that I've got set up where I'm actually able to sell some of the DIYs that you see made on this channel. And I think it is the neatest thing. I'm super proud of it. I think it just turned out really, really great. I want y'all to definitely go check that out. Even if you're not looking for something to buy, I have sneak peeks of upcoming videos on there. I have a gallery of just different stuff. Share a little bit more of the behind the scenes on that page. And it's just a really neat thing to check out. So thecoffeeshop.com, definitely check that out. Thank y'all so much for watching, and y'all have a blessed day.